Welcome back, folks. MTG Joe here. Today we are going to go over a bunch of different decklist ideas for the Explorer Qualifier play-in. This is the play-in for Best of One. We'll do a video for Best of Three, which is the following week, as well as for the Qualifier weekend itself. These are all for the June events, so June is Explorer, so it's kind of Pioneer at home. Most of the decks kind of overlap. We're still missing some cards, Bring to Light, Lotus Field, stuff like that. But for the Best of One qualifier, you can either enter with 20 play-in points if you got from, say, a past month of a top Mythic finish, or if you've been saving them from doing various events. Alternatively, you can use your wallet. Wallet, the most powerful credit card, magic card. Kind of go from there. But we're going to cover a bunch of different decks. You have to get 7 wins, you get the qualifier play-in, and then hopefully you succeed with your goals of making the Arena Championship. So we are going to look at a bunch of different data sets from the current format. We're looking at about the last week or so of data. We did have it roll over. We're going to look at some of the deck lists themselves. And we are looking basically March 27th through to June 3rd. We're going to look Diamond and Mythic rank for this popularity of the day. We are going to look Platinum to Mythic. That is because the ladder reset, so a lot of the folks that were previously in Mythic are likely in Platinum this first week. There's not too many Diamond gamers right now. So if we look at it itself, we have kind of 4-ish decks that are heavily played, and then a little bit more outside of that. Amalia being the most popular, 20%. Very good in Best of One, just given that in aggro matchups, you just incidentally gain life. There's a lot of redundancy, kind of combos out and wins. We'll cover that. Mono Red Burn, which is like the prowess flick shot wizards deck, at 14%. We have Azorius Control at 11, Rakdos Vampires at 8, Mono Green Devotion at 7. We have some Phoenixless at 5.8. Mono Black Discard, which is like the Waste Not decks, have kind of fallen in terms of popularity, but 4%. And Dimir Rogues. Dimir Rogues and Discard and Phoenix just aren't really doing well in Best of One, so we are not going to cover those. If we look at kind of the trends, Mono Red was really popular. It was 21% at one point, kind of came down, climbing back up. See Amalia being dropped to as low as 8, and then Season Reset kind of pops up again. Similarly, Azorius Control. Echoing with this, temporary lockdown, sweepers helped in that matchup there, but kind of seeing the trends in terms of the data itself. So the highest win rate deck of the week is Rakdos Vampires. Best of One and Explorer in general have a bit smaller population size, so we are going to be seeing stuff like 59 matches. I think put the cap at 40 games just to get a capture, but the Vampires matchup or deck, very, very strong. Basically cheating in Vein Ripper on turn 3, especially on the play, is very difficult for a lot of decks to beat. You have a lot of disruption early, duress, and Thoughtseize to eat away at your opponent's hand, kind of throw them off their plays. You have Bloodtide Harvester or just a bunch of removal that can be used on turn 2. Go for the throw, Fatal Pushes, Torch the Tower, Bitter Triumph, all ways to deal with your opponent's stuff. And then you have Fable that helps kind of smooth out your draws. Preacher is just another kind of beatdown threat. And then the Sorin in that. You have Mutavault, it's a creature land that also plays nicely with the deck. A lot of cheap kind of creature lands, utility spells, just a lot of strong cards. So this one got 78%. If we actually look, this player here that was number 6 Mythic is playing this deck, and we could see from this season they went 97 and 37 for this season. So they had a pretty quick climb up, 72%. Overall, they're 97.42 with the deck. But they got up to very high Mythic very quick with this deck here. And that was Ocelots. The next highest deck is the Abzan Amalia Combo. So 71%. How this deck works is you have anything that gains you life on ETB, Luminarch Veteran, Prosperous Innkeeper style effects. And then you have Wild Growth Walker and Amalia. Amalia enters the battlefield or any of these creatures, triggers a life gain. Life gain triggers Amalia, which lets you explore. Explore triggers Wild Growth Walker, which gains you life. Creates a loop. Basically, Amalia's power will go to 20, kill all the other creatures. They can disrupt it by making Amalia's power greater than 20, and then it just creates an infinite loop till there's a draw. So there's something to be mindful with that. So just something to keep in mind if they're kind of going off in that regard. So they could basically clear out the deck. They can set up their either for a lethal swing, gain insurmountable life amounts, or they just keep exploring until they put Aether Flux Reservoir on top of their library, and then they 50 ball you after. If you have a Dina out, it also allows you to just ping your opponent each time and kill them that way there. You find your combo pieces with Court of Calling, Collected Company, or Return to the Ranks. And so just a lot of redundancy with the deck itself. Then we go to mono red wizard aggro, so 67%. This one here, we've got wizard package of Lava Runner. We have Soulscar Mage and Slickshot. Swift Spear is honorary wizard. Monstrous Rage, Play with Fire, just cheap burn, Kurmanos, a single copy Reckless Impulse, light up the stage, so 5 pieces of card advantage, Skewers and Lightning Bolts as additional burn. 2 Den the Bugbear, 4 Ruins, and 13 Mountains. So very aggressive slanted deck. You have Boros Heroic, so kind of similar angle, a little bit more on the pump effects. So you still have your Slick Shot, you have Virtuoso that can gain double strike with Trample, very strong. Red Horde Arcanist flashes but stuff back. Angers gives Trample card advantage, Divine Strike gives a boost and draws a card. So a lot of ways to just kind of refill your hand. Hoplite takes advantage of the heroic ability, Protection and God's Willing, and Lauren's Escape, and then you have things like Homestead Courage for counters. Escape Velocity can give a creature haste, so attack out of nowhere with like Virtuoso. Reckless Rage as a removal spell. You have Monstrous Rage, everything kind of that nature. I find this one a little bit, it can have more power, like a double strike Virtuoso with tramples huge amounts of damage. It's much more susceptible to interaction, however, because unlike the mono red burn deck where a lot of your spells just go face, like if you have a Divine Strike in hand and no creatures, it's not doing anything. So it's not unusual to have it like target an opponent, creature, just draw a card. The one thing being said, if you are seeing a lot of Amalia, this deck's pretty solid into Amalia from the standpoint that you can use your pump spells on your opponent's creatures and just get a draw. Now, in best of 3, you can just keep doing that until you kind of win. Keep forcing draws until you can kind of win. Best of 1, it just means you get another game type thing, which is kind of annoying. Azorius Spirits, 65%. So we have Spell Queller for the white cards, Skyclave Apparition as removal, then just a bunch of tempo elements. Geist Snare, Lofty Denial, Ratter's Chains can protect your stuff, as well as make your other spirits flash in. Shacklegeist can tap down your opponent's creatures. You can draw cards with Curious Obsession, throwing it on a creature. The Mausoleum Wander gets bigger, and then it also could be like a counter spell in ways to kind of protect your board. Portable Hole, some cheap removal as well. And then like Supreme Phantom's your Lord, Spectral Sailor, some card advantage mixed into there. You have a Mutavault, Cavern of Souls, and the mana base. Then move to Rakdos Sacrifice, 61%. Nothing really super innovative with this deck's been around for quite some time, but Bat, Oven, Devil, Machine Gun your opponent, card advantage with like Deadly Disputes. You can steal your opponent's creatures with Claim. Hand Hate, Croxa for some redundancy. Fable just helps you churn through your deck, find the key cards, copy Devils after, and deal huge damage. For the most part, this deck I think has a pretty bad Rakdos Vampires matchup. I'm not sure about the Amalia version. You have cheap ways to interact, so it might be fine in terms of that matchup, but I personally don't. I find this deck tedious. A lot of people love the deck, so it's one of those kind of depends on where you stand on the side of things. Then go to Mono Green Devotion, a return. So we have Leyline of the Guild Pack, 60% win rate for this deck. So skilled gamers always have this in their opener. That's a key. Comes into play, gives you 4 devotion to green. All your cards are all colors, but it's more just for creating devotion. And then you have your Nykthos in here, which allows you to then kind of pop off in that respect. There's a Cavern of Souls. You have Elemental as one of the big payoffs in the deck for some of your bigger stuff. You can also do like Druid. So your Druid is going to be Oathcaster Trailblazer, new card. So you can plot this away and then it can help you ramp. So you can plot this on turn 3. Turn 4, you cast it for 0 mana. It gives you up to 5, like gives you the 5th mana. Then you can Cavalier of Thorns, and then that gets you another card draw off it, which is kind of cool. Archdruid's Charm helps you find the Nykthos, same as Invasion of Ixalan. You have your Elves in here. And then you have Old Growth Troll just for devotion. Kiora kind of pumps a whole bunch of mana. This version doesn't have Storm the Festival, which is interesting. Instead, you can use a bunch of the mana with Wake Root Elemental. So 6 mana, 5/5. Untap target land you control becomes a 5/5 elemental. With haste, it's still a land. So you can just kind of animate your lands and smack into your opponent that way there. We have then Abzan Greasefang. Very straightforward kind of deck, 60% win rate. What you want to do is self-mill. So put cards into your graveyard, whether looting, discard, churning. You do that with like Grizzly Salvage or Fiend's Informant, Seder Wayfinder, Witherbloom Command, Liliana. Put one of these vehicles into play, ideally Parhelion. You play Greasefang, animate Parhelion. It attacks in, and you get 2 angels afterwards. Pretty much deals 13 damage. A lot of times it's insurmountable for your opponent. The version's actually interesting as well. It's mainboarding Path to Peril, just kind of pre-boarding in that regard. And then that allows you to have the ability to deal with the aggressive decks and then just kind of combo in. You can rebuy your Greasefang. Greasefang doesn't get hit by Path to Peril. You can't stay awake to rebuy it in that regard. And with this deck, even if you get 6 mana, you're able to sweep the whole board. Kind of cool. Azorius Control. So non-Yorion version. You'll sometimes see Yorion. You'll sometimes see Lotus Field. This is neither of them. It's just kind of stock blue-white. No more lies, vetoes, censors all mixed in. Cheap interaction with March and Get Lost. Some absorbs for some life gain encounters. You have temporary lockdown for the really aggressive decks. Supreme Verdict sweeps up everything else. You'll sometimes see Sunfall in these lists. Given the prevalence of Rakdos Vampires, having Sunfall, well, it does come down to turn later. It's exile as opposed to destroy, so it doesn't get the Vein-Ripper trigger. Vein-Ripper triggers on death of creature, so this is a way to kind of get around it in that respect. The Fairies, Emperors, or Shark is your win condition. There's usually a Hall of the Storm Giants, and this one isn't playing the Restless Anchorage. Some of the lists will sometimes be Restless Anchorage as well. That's something I'd probably add. Like, you also have Castle Ardenvale in there. You then go to Selesnya Angels. So I probably wouldn't run this. People like the deck, but it's good against some of the aggressive decks. But like Amalia just outlife gains you and kind of wins on the spot. So there's something to kind of keep in mind with that. But for the deck, you got Bishop of Wings, Giada, Youthful Valkyrie. So Bishop of Wings and Righteous Valkyrie both gain you life when angels come into play, or in this case, clerics. When an angel dies, you get creature token. You gain 5 or more life. Respond an angel, then starts pooping out more angels. Skyclave Apparition can be removal. Inspiring Overseer's an angel that'll prop the life gains while also digging you a little bit further. You're at 35 or more life. Johnny's a one-sided board wipe. And then you have Collected Company that helps you dig for creatures, as well as Kyla's Reconstruction. And lastly, this one's kind of a spicy one I wanted to share. This is from Koitaro. They went 17-2 with it. It is a Abzan Auras deck. So you have Skrells for protection. You have Generous Visitor that puts counters on things. Toadstool Admirer. So it's pretty much green-white. Not Abzan, sorry. There's a Kaya's Ghost form that's kind of messing me up. Toadstool Admirer, Ward. So it's just a 1-drop with kind of like fixed hexproof. Lets you put stuff on and just dodge like the early fatal pushes. Light Pause lets you tutor for other auras, and that will get you your Kaya's Ghost form. You have Shram in here that gives you some more card advantage. And there's a whole bunch of situational auras. Cartouche for Strike gives you another body and a bonus. Ethereal Armor scales for each enchantment you have. Boom for flying. Sentinel's Eye for vigilance. Kaya's Ghost form when things die or get exiled, they come back. Audacity for trample and a boost. 6 Sense for card advantage. All That Glitters for a boost. Ruinous Substance for lifelink. Warbrier's Blessing for like fight effects. So all in all, kind of a sweet deck with the Auras deck. That's it for the week. Good luck to those who compete. I'm probably going to be playing in the best of 3 one the following week with my Gruul deck. I played it a lot in paper leading up, so that will be the one I will likely be doing. If you're interested in that, I'll cover it with the week, but I have like 2-3 hours worth of gameplay on it up on the channel, and I'll probably do some more leading up to it as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a great one. Stay safe.